Guys, welcome back. Wanted to do a quick weekend update. So last week we saw this wedge we were talking about breakdown, and we saw a very large move to the downside, and you can see pretty much where we bounced is the previous area that it broke out of, and that held the support. Right now, you can see I drew another small channel, right, that's holding as support here, and another channel that's holding as resistance so far. So again, as you can see on this chart, I do have a series of ABCs. So this is actually just one version I'm watching. All right, I'm watching to see if this, wedge holds for a wave B. And, we come down again to the previous level of support here. And on the cash index, there's obviously a gap in this area. So it could kind of make sense to come down to this 3588 level, right? I could still, again, see the market push up to 3843, but I still expect a rejection up there with a possible downward move to 3600. And again, as you can see here, this is the current channel that could again act as support before another ABC. Again, once we get to this point, right, I'm kind of watching two scenarios, as I mentioned, right? For me personally, this entire move, right, this entire move could also be an expanded flat just because it stopped at a certain fib level, right? And you could also see the same on NQ, right? Where you could see that the market actually made a lower high. So it could mean that the rest of the indexes, right, are putting in an expanded flat. And again, the SPX, again, like I mentioned, there is a gap here. So maybe, we come down to fill this gap, right? The center move was just your W, your X, and then when we fill this gap, a potential move, a Y wave up to this top of the channel, which acts as resistance, right, for this B wave before again a massive C wave downside leg. So this is again another option that I am considering right now, right, and watching to see if this gap fills, if we can have another move up. Again, it's pretty simple, right? The level I would get bullish over is 3890. If it can stay over this level, then I can definitely see us move up to 4150-ish, right, to the top of the channel before another downside leg again. Move up is again just another part of a bear market rally if it does happen. But yeah, this is also another alternate scenario. I'm watching to see again remain range bound until CPI. And if this gap fills before CPI, I could potentially be on watch for that. But yeah, so right now I'd honestly say 50-50 either scenario. I'm honestly not biased towards any one of it. But yeah, I'm, like I said, showing you both, so we're prepared for both. Again, there's still more alternatives, but I think I like both of these for now, and we shall see what happens. Right, with that being said, let's look at this week's watch list, right? The first one is Meta, and again, the reason for that is you can see this is the downward trending channel, and we did gap over this, right, the previous level of resistance. So again, personally, as long as it stays over this level, right, let's say 92.5, again, the equal X target for this move would be 103. So that's kind of what I would be watching, right? It could just as easily, right, fail this breakout, come test lower before it bounces. Definitely won't rule that out, right? But again, like I said, as long as it holds this breakout, it stands just as equal chance to hit 102, and it is oversold, right? So I thought I'd bring it to your attention. Thought Meta would be a good one to observe. The next one is actually GME, and the reason for that is on the daily, you can see that this channel has pretty much held the support, right? And you can see that for the past few sessions, it's kind of been consolidating in and out of the channel. So again, since it's a new week, right, we go to the weekly chart of GME, you can see that it failed to get back into the channel. So it could, right, trigger a large downside move. So that's kind of why I thought, it would be interesting to bring it to your attention that, GME puts below 24, target of 20, right? And a stop, let's say about, 25, 26 if it gets back into the channel. So that's what I have for GME, right? Next one is ENPH, and again, the reason for this is I think it's kind of lagging FSLR, right? Given FSLR made a new high. I mean, sector moves, right? Sector could be moving together, and in that case, I could see again ENPH. This is the channel, right? Top and bottom channel, so I could see it, try to test the top of that channel, right? If I go to the daily chart, you can see the top of the channel would be about 330. So I feel like as long as it holds over 280, it should be able to hit 330 before it actually sells off. So it's kind of why I have ENPH call on this week's watch list. The next one is PDD. And again, the reason for that is I mentioned this is a wave 4 on China, right? I think last week we had BABA calls, or the week before that we had BABA calls on the watch list. And you can see that, again, we said it would be a wave 4 bounce, right? You can see that BABA, NEO, all of them bounce for a wave 4. And I think the wave 4 is kind of ending. And in PDD's case, right, more likely a wave B because of the extended move, right? I mean, I'm thinking most China stocks, right, can be a short in a day or two, right? And I'm just choosing PDD because, again, you can see this is the structure, right? This entire thing. It's your ABC and another ABC, right? So I do think that PDD could stand another chance to move lower, right? Compared to the rest of the indexes, could make broader moves. And again, it's just kind of hovering near this trend line, right? If it breaks back under the trend line, should have a large, rising wedge breakdown. So that's why I thought I would bring PDD to your attention. And the last one is Nvidia. We had it on last week's watch list, and all it did was pretty much range, right, between 130 and 140. So yeah, I still have this in a massive bear flag, right? And it does have earnings next week, right? So it could either, again, still stay range bound, right? But I still think that this bear flag is due to break at some point. So yeah, that's why I have Nvidia on the 6 watch list. That's all for today. Hope you have a great week.